Hello, my name's Melissa Hughes and I'm working in a large high school with 1,500 students. For my teaching career, technology's been a real focus as a tool for engagement. But in more recent years, I've been looking at how technology can really be used to enhance the teaching and learning in the classroom and to support students of all abilities. In recent years, some of the developments in the area of assistive technologies have really redefined the way in which we can differentiate in the classroom. Most recently, the discovery of the Office 365 tools as ways in which we can engage students with any sort of auditory processing, reading issues, or who have found that their disability inhibits their writing has really allowed us to move forward in the classroom. The immersive reader technology, particularly this year as we've moved to the flexible and remote learning, has transformed the experience for our students who have dyslexia and who find reading loads overwhelming, and their tendency then is just to switch off. In a school, it's essential that we understand that teaching students at a range of different abilities is not something that we opt into, it's a requirement and an obligation. What we've seen in the way in which we've been able to engage these tools is that students who in the past have found real frustrations in the classroom have found these tools to be liberating, and what we're starting to see is much greater productive language, so writing that was previously sort of a couple of sentences extending to half pages, full pages, and students' self-editing skills really improving. Similarly, students who previously would get frustrated and down tools persevering and really excited. They're excited by the technology and what it offers them. One of the things that we work with students to understand is that these are life skills that just as somebody who is vision impaired needs to train themselves to read Braille, students who have a range of different learning challenges, if they master these tools through the Office 365, they're going to be able to take these skills into their further studies, into university, and also into their vocation. So these are really important skills that are worth investing in and learning as Year 7s, and then taking those skills right through their secondary experience and beyond.
The benefits that I find is that if there's words that are hard to spell and then there's so much going through your head and you can't get it down all typing and you're afraid stuff goes away, using this you can just speak your mind and it puts it down. It might spell a couple things wrong, but then you can just correct it. The voice that it gives you allows you to say what you want, and it doesn't stutter, you don't get stuff wrong as much as you would with typing. It helped a lot. I found this actually supports me more as just having something there, and if I'm stressing about I can't read it all at the same time and things are just going everywhere, I can pause for a moment, click on an immersive reader, and it reads it to me and I can sink in that information better than I can read it. It helps so much to think this technology is actually backing me up more than what it would if an actual teacher was behind me trying to explain. What immersive reader means to me, it's a way that I find it easier to read, to just look at a text thinking, hey, this is so long, how am I supposed to read this all and sink in the information at the same time, when my way of reading is taking some words in every 5 in one sentence, which isn't a lot, and piecing it together again. Immersive reader lets me hear the information and it sinks in more, and I can actually think, hey, so this is what I'm supposed to grab instead of the useless stuff that I grab instead of reading 1 in 5. Instead of doing that, it reads it for me and I don't have to bother thinking, what information am I going to sink in? It reads it for me and the information sinks in more easily, and you're just sitting there listening to it instead of having to read everything. It also changes what you want. So if you want it to go slower, it will go slow. If you want it to go faster, it will go faster. Same with font. If you find easier to read along with, you can change the font to what you want it to. I've found it such easier to use than having to read it on my own.
Here we have an excerpt from George Orwell's Animal Farm. This is a very common English text throughout Australian high schools, and one that would definitely benefit from the use of Immersive Reader. To start Immersive Reader, you first click at the beginning of the passage of text you want to highlight. You then click into the View tab, located at the top of the menu bar. From here, you should see the Immersive Reader logo on the left-hand side of the screen. Click, and Immersive Reader should open instantly. You can see straight away that all distractions are removed, and you are able to simply focus on the words. The removal of distractions enables students to focus on the content and what's being taught. The text here is clean and simple, with increased spacing to highlight individual letters, resulting in a much more pleasant viewing experience for students. If you draw your attention to the right-hand side of the screen, you can see that there are 3 different options for the students to interact with. The first is the Text Preferences panel. Text Preferences allow students to change the font size by decreasing or increasing depending on their preference. Here we can also change the spacing between letters. Students often find it easier to read with the letters spaced out. If we turn it off, you can see the words become much more difficult to read, even to those of us without learning difficulties or facing dyslexia. Immersive Reader also includes different options for fonts. Different learners prefer different fonts depending on their learning style. Some students like the more classic-looking serif fonts, while others again, especially those in primary levels, prefer the dreaded Comic Sans. But for now, we'll just stick with Calibri. Immersive Reader also gives you the option to change the colour of the background and provide high contrast viewing options to support students with visual impairments, and allows for different backgrounds for ease of reading for students suffering from dyslexia. You can see there is a whole range of options for students so they can pick the colour that best suits their reading style. The next panel I'm going to highlight are the grammar options. The Grammar Options tab is fantastic for enhancing the reading experience for those students that struggle with English in particular. Students can break up the words on screen into syllables, allowing them to sound out words. This can be greatly beneficial to students in younger year levels, but is also a powerful tool for those learning to read in secondary levels. This feature, when combined with the increased spacing Immersive Reader affords, even helps the students performing at or above expected level to read large bodies of text, especially when asked to read aloud in a group classroom environment. Immersive Reader can also break bodies of text into their individual components, highlighting sentence structure such as nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. These can be turned on and off depending on what the focus is for your lesson. You can also highlight the different parts of the text to help reinforce student learning. Students have the option to change the colour of the words being highlighted to help suit their individual learning style. Finally, there is the Reading Preferences panel. The Reading Preferences panel goes beyond the text customization options we see in the first 2 tabs and focuses on students' ability to read and understand context. By turning on the line focus option, Immersive Reader narrows down the field of view to a single line. This can be expanded to 3 lines, but for the purposes of this demonstration, I'll stick to 1. With the rest of the content blacked out, Immersive Reader draws in students and captures their attention. This is especially powerful when combined with Immersive Reader's text-to-speech options.
By the autumn, the animals were tired but happy. They had had a hard year, and after the sale of part of the hay and corn, the stores of food for the winter were none too plentiful.
This mode allows students, regardless of their reading capabilities, access to the same resources that every other student has. The text-to-speech option can also be customized to accommodate students' processing speed, whether they process audio slower or actually engage with the content when it's presented at a quicker pace. You can toggle the speed in real time as the voice is speaking. Microsoft's Immersive Reader also allows you to change the gender of the voice depending on the individual's preference. Immersive Reader has a built-in dictionary, as well as a picture dictionary. A picture dictionary enables students with limited comprehension the ability to simply click on a word and bring up an image within Microsoft's image library that best matches the highlighted word, providing students with a visual guide to better increase their comprehension and engagement. This picture tool may sound basic, but goes a long way in aiding and facilitating student comprehension and engagement with the source material. Microsoft Picture Dictionary also includes images of physical activities or behaviours that can help students with autism or who are on the spectrum understand emotional context to the pieces they are reading. The last feature I want to highlight in Microsoft's Immersive Reader is the inbuilt translation tool. Click on the Reading Preferences tab, and in the drop-down box under the Translation heading, select your chosen language. There are around 100 different languages you can choose to translate your given text into. You can choose to either translate individual words,
C'est merveillant.
or entire documents. This is a feature that becomes even more powerful when combined with Immersive Reader's text-to-speech options. This enables students, regardless of background, clear path of communication between their teachers, their parents or carers, and themselves. The translation happens immediately and works across the entire Microsoft Office suite.
Dans leur moment libre, les animaux se promenaient autour du moulin à moitié fini, admirant la force et la perpendicularité de ses murs et s'émerveillant qu'il aurait jamais dû être en mesure de construire.
You can easily revert back to the source document by clicking on the Original tab next to your chosen language. To exit Immersive Reader, click the arrow in the top left-hand corner to exit back into the original document. As you can see, it's a much more overwhelming and understimulating experience. Microsoft Office and Immersive Reader is a powerful tool that opens up doors to all learners regardless of ability or background, and is a tool that should be incorporated into every aspect of modern day teaching, from daily communication to curriculum engagement. This tool builds upon students' core literacies and provides a level of access to all that was previously either cost prohibitive or simply didn't exist. This is a skill that builds upon their knowledge of an industry standard platform, and one that the students, regardless of their literacy levels, can take into the professional environment and thrive under any circumstance.